Hello and welcome. My name is Dr. Janice Hughes, and I'm really excited to be with you today in conjunction basically with ChiroSecure. Before I even get started and talk a little bit about myself and a wonderful project that I'm involved with, I wanted to take a moment and really acknowledge and thank ChiroSecure for their support, personally, individually, but also as a profession. One of the things I'm going to talk to you about is a new company and really major project that I'm involved with, which is called To Inspire Women. And ChiroSecure is one of the partners, one of the companies in chiropractic, in healthcare, that has supported women for years. It's not new. They, over the last year and couple of years, have a couple of specific programs and talks and events that are geared to women in the profession. But this goes back for years. I've known Dr. Stuart Hoffman for a number of years, probably about 12 years. And he has been one of the most supportive people for myself as a female practitioner. So I just want to say thank you. And then I'm really excited to be with you today and have the opportunity to talk about this new project and company that I'm involved with, which is To Inspire Women. Now, I'm not doing this in a vacuum. I'm not doing this by myself. I am so fortunate to be working with two other incredible women doctors. Both of them have really lived through success principles and, practices and balancing families and all the things that we're going to talk about here for a minute. And so my two partners are Dr. Shaylin Osborne and Dr. Kim Carpenter. So together, the three of us, we've taken a look at what kind of legacy we would love to leave in the profession. Where do we see that we could help the profession the most? And that's where we started to have these conversations about To Inspire Women. So one of the things that we're really clear about is our mission is to transform the role of women in the profession. Now, when I say that, we don't talk about that just in a vacuum here either. We have unbelievable women's groups and individuals and programs that are already in existence. One of the things that's so unique, particularly for myself, where I've played so many different roles in the profession, is that I take a look around and I see all these amazing women and opportunities. But one of the things I've noticed is that if we're not careful, we're tending to do a little bit like what's always been done. And I'm going to call that a bit of the old boys approach, where there's been a lot of focus on almost competition. Instead of the word you're going to hear me use for To Inspire Women is this idea of collaboration. So right off, I want to acknowledge and let you know that we are already working with some of the amazing and incredible women that are involved in the profession. We've got WDC that, attracts and creates, a really wonderful opportunity for practitioners, women practitioners, to learn and grow, and a lot of great clinical expertise. If you're also interested in just a community of amazing women, we've got the LCW, the Legion of Chiropractic Women. We've got wonderful coaches. I know personally Dr. Barbara Eaton, and from Chiro Bloom and the Genius Room, Dr. Pam Jarboe. We've got Kathy Colby, who is really helping other women to turn around and skills, getting on platforms. Now, with all of these great groups and organizations, increase and enhance their speaking. I don't want to just sit and list them all because I will forget someone. There's individual women in practice, doing incredible things. But as I left the profession or went outside of the profession for 8, almost 9 years and was involved in biotech and the science world and money raising, when I came back and was putting more emphasis again back on, chiropractic and my true love, because I've been a practitioner for years, it's that I was seeing that we were becoming a little disjointed. We were kind of doing this thing about all in separate silos. And the one thing that I learned was about the power of collaboration. And I'd love to see more of that in chiropractic. I'd love to see more of that with women in chiropractic. And the reason is that there is a huge need. And the need is what I'd like to describe to you, that To Inspire Women is focusing on three different needs that I see for women in practice as a healthcare practitioner. The first is that there's a whole component or a whole piece that needs to be addressed related to startup. So, what happens is we go to school, we get educated, we have these skill sets, but there is not a lot of emphasis on business and leadership and this idea of collaboration and fast starts. The reality is young women, all young practitioners, but I'm talking to the young women right now, that many of you listening are in incredible debt. We want to help you with that fast start. And there's some things about startup that I know that we can help provide for you. Now, some of you listening will be in what I call the second category, which is it's a phase of life and career where you want to move or learn how to move from striving to thriving. Now, when I say that can be anywhere from a year into practice to, in some cases, 5 years. We're working hard, we're juggling, we're trying to figure out how to often raise family or do things in our community and build a practice and have a significant other in many cases. And a lot of that juggling that goes on, if we're not careful, there tends to be that edge where it's like we are always feeling like we're not enough, like we don't have all the skills that we need. And so that's what I mean, where it's a phase where it's about work or the amount of energy we're putting in. And there tends to be a bit of that edge to striving. And my partners and I know, and we are offering that there are a lot of skills and tool sets where we can help you move from that sense of striving to really thriving and identifying what's so important for you. Now, the third category that I want to describe is what I call the 10-year exit strategy. And that's for a lot of you. And again, it can be some of you are doing so well that it's within 5 or 6 years in practice. Or maybe it's that you've been in practice for a lot longer. And now we start to turn our attention to what is our exit strategy? Do we have the business? Do we have the leadership skills? Do we have the entrepreneurial skills to allow us to put a plan in place where we could basically be financially independent and have a system or a business entity that we could be there or not and things would still run? Or for some of you, you're maybe at a stage of your career where the 10-year exit strategy includes you leaving practice. All too often, I've seen in some other projects I've been involved with that so many people are not in the financial position to then be able to do that exit strategy. So in those three categories, I see that there are often some really key fundamentals where what we at To Inspire Women are focused on is filling the gap, filling and giving you some resources and tools and ideas and collaboration with some of the other great women in the profession that I've talked about to really help fill some of those holes or voids. Particularly early in the early stage of practice and that startup stage. One of the first key challenges is that we're so often listening to outside perspectives at the expense of our own or what we know. And what I mean by that is that, a lot of people will say, well, here's the system, just put the system in place. If you're further in practice and it's about associates or the associate model, it's, well, just do it this way. But what happens is we know that about 95% of the time, we're not getting the maximum benefit even from the things that we are doing. And there's many times where it's because some of those things just aren't a fit. So what tends to happen is that first big challenge is that so often we're listening to outside versus inside. A second challenge or category is the areas of confidence and certainty. The third is things like our communication with other people, with our team, with patients, also in our lives, in our personal lives as well. The fourth category that we're really addressing is the lack of business systems. All too often, and I can describe the story that I, in the beginning, had a very personality driven practice. And that all fell apart, big practice, and it fell apart at two different points. Number one was when I got sick with pneumonia, and who was going to take over that for me. The second key point or story, and that's for another time, is listening to those outside people about how to then build the business versus, again, some things that I knew intuitively. So often lack of these business systems. Now, a fifth category is the issue of philosophy. There are a lot of times where we aren't really clear about how to identify our philosophy, our life philosophy and chiropractic philosophy, and then build the business systems around that. That starts to impact our certainty and our confidence. Now, the sixth category that I want to just focus on for a moment is about money and wealth consciousness and the steps to build the business and to thrive doing that, to thrive financially. So those are just six that I wanted to share with you that at To Inspire Women, we really identify these challenges or these pivot points. And what we've done already is create tools and some free resources so that we can start to seed that out more within the profession. I'm partnering as an example with WDC with a money mindset course that I developed, and we're going to be able to seed that out and at their conference and convention, offer that to different women practitioners. So literally, I just wanted to share that what we've taken a look at are some of those voids in the profession. And what we want to do is come up with different strategies to help you, women in the profession, to handle some of those issues in your own life. We're going to do three things. The first thing that we have launching is what we call our membership site. And that's where we're taking some of the coaching tools. So just as a perspective, I, for example, have been a coach in the profession for over 15 years. And we want to take some of those systems and coaching tools and put it into a format, particularly for new grads, even preferably a student before they make some decisions about practice, but then also some practitioners that want to revisit some basics. There are some foundational concepts that we can't grow or thrive or develop without building that foundation. And some of those pillars are things like, who you are as an individual, your own personality, learning how to communicate so that others better understand you, these money mindset concepts. So there's a whole number of these foundational pillars that we're building into a membership site. And we want that to be a vehicle for a lot of people to be able to get access to these materials. Now, we're not going to stop there. That is going to launch soon. Now, the second place or pivot place that we feel we can really support some of the other women's groups and programs is by doing things like some particular group coaching, topic specific, particularly some of the business lessons that I learned out in, I call it a different world, the biotech world. And one of the things I learned is what I didn't know. A lot of the business that I didn't know as a chiropractor and we didn't know within chiropractic. So we want to be able to come up with some topics, some specific small programs. One example is my Money Mindset online course. But we have a number of those. Dr. Osborne has some courses and already programs about finding your superstar CA, how to hire, how to work with and groom and train. So we're going to create some programs that are those kinds of group coaching formats for that. Now, on top of that, I do want to work with some individual women. Just as an example is where my partners, Dr. Shaylin Osborne and Dr. Kim Carpenter, are 15 and 20 years in, is based on the quality and caliber of coaching that they received earlier in their careers. So what we've done is we've taken what I did in the past and we've really systematized it. So we have a 6-step transformational inspired coaching blueprint. That's being built into the membership site, but we will be creating some unique women's masterminds. Now, that's a lot about what we see or where we think we can work individually and in groups and in a program with you. But really, I just want to leave you with the why. I want to talk to you for a minute about what happens out there where so often we don't completely hear even some great messages. Remember, I started by saying that often we aren't getting the benefit even from the things we know. And that can change. And there's some easy ways as a coach that we can help a lot of people to translate, say, knowledge, but into reality, some actual action steps. That's how we're going to transform things. One of the things we all know is that there are a lot of amazing women in the profession and women that are coming into the profession. We want to change the landscape. We want to work with you. We want to support women in the profession. We're excited. That's why I love to partner with ChiroSecure. So I just wanted to share a little bit about who we are, some of the key things that we already have happening, and the future things we have happening. If you go to, and I know that it will be affiliated or below, there'll be links, our website, where the key right now is join our launch. Just go to, it's the number 2, so it's 2inspirewomen.com. And that way right now, we just have a countdown for the launch of our membership site. But that's the way that you'll be updated on some of the new things that we're going to be doing and the partnerships we're creating and the support that we're providing. So that's my only ask, is that let's shift the landscape. Let's focus on collaboration. And I believe we are the people to help facilitate that conversation. And that's why I've been so excited to share with you about 2 Inspire Women. So thanks, and join us. We call it a collective because it's about collaboration. So please, we look forward to joining and connecting with you. Thank you.
This has been a ChiroSecure production.